Hi, Makayla. This is Brian with the Edison Pen Company. Hey, I thought I'd be a lot easier to just put this onto a video because there's a couple things I want to illustrate as well. Now, first of all, if you would like to get the pen back here, we can definitely figure that out. I know international shipping could be a little pricey, but if the best way to figure this out is to send the pen to us, that is always an option, and we can always take that route. But I figured that I would clarify a few things. I know in your email you had mentioned a couple things that I think I can address, and it has a lot to do with, the best way to do this, and the reason I'm probably doing a video is I want to show you, the Elysian as a 3D model, and basically this is the Elysian as I designed it, and so this is exactly, the same pen. So what I use to program is exactly from here. So all these dimensions are dead on accurate. So the first thing to show you really is, so this is the pen that is when it's capped. If you're able to get the pen, when it's posted, I should say. If you're able to post the pen like this, then we know that the barrel is penetrating deep inside this cap, okay? Now let's look at this on a cross section. So I hope that this is apparent to you and you can see what's going on here. But this is the nib. Here's the section. And then this is the barrel going all the way down to here. This is the converter that's inside. And then this is the cap. So the one thing that, you can see that the barrel penetrates very deep into the cap, and there's not a lot of clearance, and that's by design. That's how we designed it. So if you are able to get your pen to post like this, then I don't really need to see it to know that this cap bore has to be deep enough because it's taking the barrel, if that makes sense. So if you can get your pen to look like this and it posts well, then it has to be that the interior cap bore is this long or is this deep, if that makes sense. Let me know if any of this is unclear. I'll be happy to clarify. So if that's the case, then once we get to a version with the cap on, so we know that the cap is deep enough if the barrel can post. If I look at another cross section of this, then there's a couple things that I wouldn't mind pointing out. So within the cap, this is the section right here. And then this is what's called the inner cap, or basically it's just an edge that is left with this bore. So the section will hit the inner cap. Now what this does is this will not allow you to over tighten the threads, because as you screw the barrel into the cap, the section will hit this ridge. So you can't possibly go past this. And that also means that the nib cannot possibly go any farther than what we're seeing right here. So that being the case, if you can post the pen, we know that the cap depth has to be this deep. And we know that you can't really over tighten the threads because I designed it to make sure that the section can't go beyond this. Then if that's the case, then we have all this distance between the nib tip and the cap. And we can take a measurement of this as well. So let's just measure from here to here. Sorry, I do everything in imperial. So it's 3.6, let's just call that 3/8 of an inch, which is 375. And if I convert that to metric for you, I've got like 9.5 millimeters. So if all these things are accurate, then there's tons of room in here for the cap, and that's the way I designed it. So I guess it doesn't make a ton of sense to me what the issue could be. And then of course, with international shipping, if we're sure that the nibs have been installed correctly, then of course, let's get the pen back here. And I would feel better doing that. Whatever the cost is, it doesn't really matter that much. Now, the only thing that I think you had mentioned in your email, the possibility of maybe the nib was not screwed down all the way, or the section was not screwed down all the way. And this is a possibility, but given all of the depth that this cap will give you, it still seems unlikely. So if I just remove the cap, this will help me to illustrate something here. So let's say that there's a mistake made and the section is not screwed down all the way. That means that it might be sticking out that far, right? That's still not that much. That's not enough to make this a real problem and to get it to crash. Now let's say that, another mistake was made and the section also was not screwed down all the way. Then maybe it's like this. That's still, we're still getting to a point where it would be very difficult to get this cap to actually crash. Because first of all, if the section were unscrewed partially, then that doesn't really matter because the inner cap that I mentioned up here would stop the section right here. So this being unscrewed really doesn't matter. And if the nib is unscrewed, the nib would literally have to be falling out before it would reach 3/8 of an inch length. And it would be very, very, very obvious. So whatever the issue is, the fundamental things that I would look at first, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But of course, if this has happened twice, then there's just no good explanation that I can offer. So if you feel that getting the pen back here is the best solution, let's definitely do that. And I'd love to, if anything, just to make sure that we don't repeat, if we made a mistake with the design or if something's going wrong, I would like to make sure that we don't repeat that with future pens. So anyways, please let me know your thoughts on this. I hope that this 3D model kind of makes things kind of clear from the design perspective. I wasn't sure how to word all this into an email when it comes to viewing a cross section and understanding how all of this comes together when it's posted, when it's not posted, and how everything works. So anyways, please let me know your overall thoughts. We can take any path that you like, but I do agree with you when you say that if this has happened twice and we know that the nibs are properly installed and everything is fine, then I don't have a good explanation, and maybe it is something is wrong with the design that I'm just not able to discern right now. So again, if that's the case, getting the pen back here and we can have a close look is a perfectly good option. So let me know your thoughts on this. Thank you so much.